A tall black man stood crying, holding two dead girls in his hands. When the father arrived with a group of men, he immediately thought the black man was the killer. This was America in 1935. Back then, no one questioned it. He was sentenced to death. The man's name was John Coffey, and when he arrived at the prison, the guards were shocked. He was so big that the transport truck almost broke under his weight. Everyone had to look up just to see his face. But despite his scary size, he was calm and gentle. He always called the guards boss with respect. He even admitted that he was scared of the dark and asked them to leave the lights on at night. Paul, the captain of the guards, had the feeling that Coffey wasn't a bad man. He told his men to remove Coffey's handcuffs. Coffey simply held out his hands in thanks, making it even harder for Paul to believe he had murdered two little girls. But when Paul read Coffey's case file, he was shocked. Paul worked in death row where prisoners waited for execution. The hallway leading to the electric chair was called the Green Mile because of its green floors. Working down the hallway meant one thing, that before execution, the prisoner's head was shaved and a wet sponge was placed on their head. This helped the electric move through the body faster, making the death quick. Since these prisoners were living their last days, the guards treated them with kindness to keep them calm. But one guard, Percy, was different. He only got this job because of family connections and he had no respect for the prisoners. He beat Coffey with a baton when he arrived and even broke another inmate's fingers. The other guards were angry but couldn't stop him. They were afraid of losing their jobs. One night, a small mouse appeared in the Green Mile. It wasn't scared of the prisoners or guards. It simply ate crumbs from the floor and walked around like it owned the place. After eating, it disappeared into a nearby cell. The guards searched the cell, but the mouse was nowhere to be found. The next day, the mouse returned. Percy saw it and got mad. He tried to kill it, but the mouse escaped again. Percy didn't care about how others felt, not the guards, not the prisoners. This made one of the bigger guards furious, but since Percy had connections, no one could stand up to him. But Paul didn't fear Percy. He warned him, if he had kept tormenting prisoners, he wouldn't get away with it. After watching an execution, Percy made an offer. If they let him personally execute a prisoner, he would transfer to a mental hospital. The guards wanted him gone, so they agreed. The next day, something amazing happened. The mouse had become a pet to an inmate named Dell. It could run up its arms and even roll a wooden spoon on command. He named it Mr. Jingles. Paul didn't mind letting Dell keep it. That day, Paul was called to the warden's office. A dangerous new prisoner was coming in, Wild Bill Wharton. The man had killed 3 people in a robbery, including a pregnant woman. The warden was already upset because his wife had a brain tumor and might not have much time left. Paul had problems of his own, and he had a painful infection, making it hurt every time he went to the bathroom. His pain was so bad that it even affected his marriage. Then, the new prisoner arrived. He looked slow and confused, almost like he had a mental illness. Coffey warned Paul to be careful, and he was right. The moment Wild Bill walked in, he attacked the guards. Paul rushed to help, but Wild Bill nailed him to the groin so hard that he collapsed. Percy stood frozen in fear. Luckily, the beat guard knocked Wild Bill unconscious and they locked him up. But Paul was in terrible pain. As soon as the other guards left, he fell to his knees. Then, Coffey called him over. Paul struggled to stand and walk towards his cell. Coffey reached out his hands, but Paul was hesitant. "What do you want, John Coffey?" "Just to help it." Paul thought Coffey was about to hurt him, but instead, Coffey grabbed his stomach, right where his infection was. Suddenly, the prison lights flickered and burst. "Coffey, let go!" Other prisoners around screamed, and Paul's pain was completely gone. But Coffey started coughing violently. Then he opened his mouth, and a cloud of tiny black incense flew out. Paul was stunned. The bugs disappeared into thin air. "What did you just do to me?" "I helped it. Didn't I help it? I just took it back, it's all." Coffey sighed. "I'm awfully tired now, boss." Dog get tired. Then he lay down on his bed. At that moment, Paul felt an urge to go to the bathroom. He rushed to the toilet, and for the first time in weeks, he peed without any pain. And this happened because John Coffey had a gift. He could heal people. But was he really a murderer? Or was he innocent? And what happened when he finally walked the Green Mile? And now it was time for Coffey to be executed. But Paul, who knew he was very innocent, was left with no options. No one would believe them, and John Coffey, despite knowing he's innocent, accepted his fate. In one of the most emotional moments in cinema history, Paul walks Coffey to the electric chair. The other guards who have come to love this man were barely holding back tears. Coffey refuses the black hood, saying he's afraid of the dark. Paul grips Coffey's hands one last time. "I'm sorry," he whispered. The switch is pulled. Electricity surges through Coffey's body, his face twisting in pain as the lights in the room flicker violently. The miracle worker, the innocent man, is gone. The room is silent. The system has won again. The tragic story of John Coffey isn't just fiction. It's inspired by real-life cases where innocent people were executed due to flawed justice systems. One of such cases is George Stinney Jr., a 14-year-old black boy executed in 1944 for a crime he didn't commit. Like Coffey, Stinney was accused of killing 2 white girls and sentenced to death with almost no evidence. It took 70 years before his convictions was overturned, long after it was too late. Even today, wrongful executions happen. Studies show that 1 in 25 death row inmates in the US are likely innocent. That's not just a statistic. It's real, guys. It's real life lost. So the question remains, how many John Coffeys have we lost, and how many more will die before justice truly means justice? What do you think? Should the death penalty still exist, or is it too dangerous to risk executing the innocent? Let's talk in the comments.
Dead man! Dead man walking!
Your name is John Coffey.
Yes, sir, boss. I'd like to drink.